Hi, my name is Scott Bolt and I'm the president of CrossFields, and today I had the privilege to sit down with Dr. Joe Lacombe. Dr. Lacombe recently completed a project with CrossFields, and he's going to share directly from his heart some experiences he had both in concerns in hiring CrossFields, the experience he had through the process, both in design and construction administration. So I think this is going to give you some really valuable insight as you're about to embark in a new clinic yourself, or you're going to be renovating your current clinic. In either case, I think it's going to be valuable to you and the team you select. And with no further ado, I'm going to start off with asking you some questions, Dr. Lacombe. Dr. Lacombe, what was your biggest concern about hiring a professional design company to plan and design your office?
My main concern in hiring a designing company was cost. Coming out of school, you amass a good amount of debt. And so the idea of hiring a designing company is, great in the fact that they help you and they point you in the right direction, but also when people help you, they also expect to get paid, which is obviously doing business. So my main concern was costs, and exactly I didn't want a company that figured, since I was a doctor, that I had unlimited budget. Sometimes people hear doctor, and even though they don't know what type of doctor you are, they just assume that you are living in Beverly Hills, driving the Mercedes-Benz, your kids are going to private colleges, the best that money can buy, and that's not the aspect with probably, I'd say, 95% of the chiropractors graduating today.
How do you feel we helped you through the design and planning process?
The biggest one was when I sat down and talked with Carolyn. The biggest thing she made me feel was secure. That what I was saying was just not going in one ear and out the other. So she was actually listening to me. And the biggest thing I liked is when it came to ideas, she put it back on me. And what she had me do, part of the process of designing everything you see, was my input mainly. And she just shaped and molded it. So, for example, she told me to go out and find pictures of offices that I could see myself in. Whether it would be an item like this desk or whether it would be the overall feel of the room. And I had to find roughly 20-25 pictures, which again sounds easy, but when you realize that there's not a lot of offices, pictures showing how offices were designed on the internet, and I mean, again, if you don't believe me, just put in like office designers in a Google search, and you won't find a lot of them in your hometown, maybe not even in your home state, because here I am in Texas, and CrossFields is in Atlanta. So it goes to show you just exactly how small that market is. So the biggest thing that I liked about CrossFields is they took the fact that cost was an issue with me, but they let me pretty much design it with them they kind of let me steer the ship, but they were guiding me on the passage, if you will. So that's what I really liked about it. As for what I didn't like about the process, I really didn't say there wasn't anything I didn't like about the process. I kind of just wish CrossFields would have also built my office, because between the contractor, the painters, and everybody else that was involved in producing the office, those guys worked well, but they didn't work as well as CrossFields did on the project.
What was your key reason for hiring CrossFields?
Couple reasons. One main reason is when I talked with Carolyn, she was a woman, and I wanted my office to be designed by a woman, which I know sounds like kind of odd, because when you think architects and designs, you think male populated market, okay, almost male dominated market too. So, but let's be honest, women, wives, mothers make most of the health decisions for the whole family. Even when it comes to a husband or a boyfriend or a dad that's not doing well, usually it takes the wife forcing him to go to the doctor. So I wanted an office design that was welcoming to a woman almost more so than a male because of that reason. Number two reasons why I went with CrossFields was because, honestly, when I did a search, I didn't find a lot of design companies. I found companies that design things specifically for chiropractic offices. Like I found one company that designed front desk and designed report of findings, furniture and all that. And I didn't really want that. I wanted a concept. I wanted flow in the office. I did not want just, because this was a brand new office, so nothing was built. So I didn't want to just come in and change a few things. We had to build this from the ground up. So I wanted somebody that actually designed and not somebody that just put in certain things to make the flow better. There was no flow to this office because it wasn't built. This wasn't a remodel, it was a build out. So, and I felt very comfortable after I spoke with Carolyn once, and I will be honest with people and tell them that when you do business, go with your gut instinct. If you don't feel comfortable from the first sit down or the first conversation with somebody, I don't know if it's going to get better. In my case, I felt very comfortable with her, and my gut instinct said it was the right choice, and it ultimately was the right choice.
How did CrossFields measure up to your expectations? As an example, did we really understand your need, your function, your flow? How timely were we? Like how effective was our communication? Did we create a design that really made an impact that you envisioned? And since we are general contractors also, how valuable was our construction knowledge through the project?
Okay. You're going to probably have to ask me a couple of these because that's kind of a long question. But effectiveness, like why did I go with CrossFields? Well, I'll be honest. I really didn't have anything to judge it on. So I just went with whichever company, and I called a few different companies to make sure that I had a firm understanding of what they did or did not do. But also, I felt, when I walked away from interviewing 3 different firms, 3 different businesses that did this, that CrossField was the one that seemed to mesh with me the best. So as for why I went with CrossFields, that was a reason. I mean, I never had a firm before design my office. The first one I did, I did some things well and some other things I didn't do so well. So second time around, I didn't want to say the first time around went horrible, so I wasn't going to use that company. I didn't use a company the first time around. So that was the first thing. Second thing, how would I rate some things? Well, CrossFields did communicate with me very effectively, and that's probably my opinion. When communication is good, things run smoothly. When communication is lax, you can expect issues, whether it be a slower project, whether it be jobs not getting done or even started. That's usually due to lack of communication. So they definitely communicated with me well. And another thing that really helped out was, I did a very basic build out the first time I opened an office. And this one was much more detailed. This one was much more cost, but it was also cost effective because CrossFields took the reins and based on the bids I got from contractors and builders, looked at what the builders and contractors were going to charge me and was sort of like my big brother when it came to having my back. And I really appreciated that because, there are good contractors and builders out there, and there are not so good builders and contractors out there, just like there are great chiropractors and they're not so great chiropractors. Good mechanics, not so great. So I like that. So if I had to rate on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being slight or okay and 5 being excellent, I would give the communication skills a 5 because, we did phone conversations. And again, even though I'm in Texas and CrossFields is in Atlanta, with Skype, with the internet, with phones, we had a lot of stuff done, even though we were thousands of miles away from each other. So it doesn't have to be that you find a firm right in your own backyard, because chances are you're not going to be able to. This is such a small market that, yes, you'll find architects in your backyard, but the average architect, if they've designed a medical office, chiropractic office is nowhere near a medical office, okay? And as for, you know, when it comes to flow and giving me the office that I wanted, I'd give that a 5 too. I'd give that an absolute 5 because, for one, they had designed chiropractic offices, and that was really important. Finding a company that knew what chiropractic was all about, knew about flow. Okay, most medical doctors, you know, you have a hallway with rooms left and right, and the doctor goes to you. Most chiropractic offices, you want to work efficiently where you can kind of, you know, flow around the office so that you're working smarter, not harder. Okay, so that was also very important because I didn't want to hire a firm, you know, in Atlanta when a firm from Texas could do it, but a firm from Texas wouldn't have been able to do what CrossFields did for me. Okay, so that was great in that aspect.
So even though CrossFields was located in Atlanta, Georgia, based on the use of technology, GoToMeeting, interaction on the computer screen, you basically were able to feel comfortable that you were visualizing the design even though you weren't sitting across a conference table or an office desk. It was as real time and live as possible.
Oh yeah, I mean, technically, when we did the punch list of items to make sure that the office was completely done the way that we had specified in the plans, I just held my iPad up and just walked from room to room. Now, I don't know about you, but I know from iPhones to iPads to Android phones that the quality and video resolution is great. I mean, you know, so at the end of the day, I didn't really care if CrossFields was located in Guam, Alaska, Atlanta, Texas. I went with the company, and the fact that technology is developing so quickly, it makes actually having to be in that person's office physically with them, it makes it obsolete. There's no reason why you can't do business across the United States and get the same quality finished product, if not better, by the person never having to step in your office. And that's great, because if you don't have somebody in your backyard that can do this design, well, then you have to go to another state or other parts of the country. And this allows it, the GoToMeetings, the Skype, the phone calls, it allows it so nicely. And if you have to send them something very quickly, you just snap a picture of it and text it to them, and it's there nice and quick and fast. And, you know, so technology has evolved so much that maybe 30, 40 years ago, something like this, just, you know, hiring a company in Atlanta, well, they would have had to fly out here, which would have raised the cost, which would have slowed down the progress. And I mean, again, so at the end of the day, you can feel very comfortable, because I know I did it. And again, Round Rock, Texas is not close to Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, last time I checked. By plane it's not too far, but by car it's a little bit further. So the fact that they were in a different state didn't really, that didn't even bother me whatsoever, because I didn't have the luxury of finding somebody in Texas to do it. And even if I would they've had a track record as good as CrossFields? I don't think so.
Then would you classify CrossFields really more than just an architectural interior design firm? Basically, would you say that their knowledge is more comprehensive than that, where it lends construction expertise that gets developed and incorporated as part of their design as the design is evolving, and also can offer assistance as it relates to negotiations in the cases of, I know your building you actually purchased, but in the case of helping with negotiations on that purchase and also lease negotiations, did you experience assistance from CrossFields or a knowledge base of these subjects above and beyond just creating high impactful designs that function and flowed well for you?
Right. First off, CrossFields is absolutely more than an architectural firm, okay? Because again, they have found a speciality that needed to be found. Chiropractors need help designing offices. I've seen chiropractors that live in great houses and drive very nice cars, and they have an office that honestly, you know, I don't understand how they're so successful. Carpet that needs to be replaced, a few $1,000s, do new paint on the wall, a few $100s, and it just never gets done, okay? If we want to elevate our perception, or I should say, if we want to elevate the way the general population perceives chiropractors, well, guess what? When you go to a nice restaurant, a really nice restaurant, and the decor, the parking lot is up to date, it's beautiful, you're not really surprised that they give a good meal also with it. But when you go to a restaurant that's kind of shoddy, the parking lot needs some fixing up, the outdoors needs a paint, the roof maybe has some shingles loose, if you got so-so quality, would you be surprised? Not really. So my opinion is CrossField is absolutely more than just an architectural firm, because I will tell you, the first office I built was very basic, okay? And I don't say I built, I hired people to build it, but I had an architect. You have to have an architect to get plans approved from the city or township, okay? So I had an architect. I don't know how much he charged me, a few $1,000s, and he gave me a very basic office. Outlets here or there, but didn't ask me my input for the outlets. Didn't even think about saying, hey, I need an outlet here because it won't show the wires, okay? Or I need an outlet here because I'm gonna have an x-ray machine plugged into it, or I'm gonna have a high-low or anything like that. So the architect that was hired, I hired him because the contractor that was doing my work worked with him in the past. I didn't know him from Adam. This time around, I decided I'm gonna find somebody that has done this before. It might cost me a little bit more, but it will save me in the long run because I won't be upset with the fact that I paid less for something I did not want. Second part of that, as for the negotiation, I unfortunately met CrossFields after I had pretty much almost bought this place. So I talked with them the beginning of January, or the beginning of July 2014, and we closed on the office condo in July 25th, 2014. So whereas they couldn't help me negotiate because the process was pretty much done, I would probably say based on everything else they helped me with, that yeah, bringing CrossFields in to help negotiate a lease or even negotiate the buyout of a condo or a freestanding building would probably be excellent, and they probably would save you money, just like when they looked over the contractor's budget and advised me on where we could still get good quality products, but we might be able to save some money, okay? The difference between going with quartz as opposed to granite. The difference between going with a laminate that looks like wood as opposed to complete hardwoods. Yes, I would love to have the best that money can buy, but again, cost has to be somewhat involved, because I didn't just hand somebody a check that was blank and said, run with this, design me whatever you want to. If you have that much money and that much, invested, then hey, go to it. But it doesn't mean that you'll get the office that you want. I got the office that I wanted based on not only cost, but also based on what would really give a professional looking office. And so far, everybody that's seen the office has said the same thing. This is probably the nicest office I've been to in a long time, if ever. Well, I want it to be nice for me, not just nice for everybody else. It was great for me, and so far it's been excellent for people that come in.
If another chiropractor asked you about your overall experience with CrossFields, what would you say? And be honest, both positive and negative.
So the office is 1,400 square feet, which doesn't sound like a huge amount of space. And it probably wouldn't be if I didn't have somebody design the office with flow in mind, okay? But the 1,400 square feet feels bigger than it is, okay? And there are ways around making 1,400 square foot seem bigger. We have higher ceilings. It seems to open it up. Another nice thing is that, you know, at the end of the day, the shape of the size also comes into play. And we had relatively a square to deal with as opposed to a rectangle. When you can have an office that's 1,400 square feet but not have any wasted space, then that's going to seem larger. You can have 3,000 square feet and not use 1,500 square of it really well, and guess what? You've got a usable 1,500 square feet. Well, that's going to make a huge office seem tiny, whereas you can have a 1,400 square foot office and use every square foot of it very efficiently, and it's going to make it seem larger. And that's what I've got here. I've got room to grow. Okay, so that most people say, oh yeah, you know, within like 9 months, a year, I grew out of my office. It's like, well, how big was your office to begin with? 900 square feet, 1,000. Okay, well, I've seen busy offices made in 900 or 1,000 square feet, but what good does it do if you have to invest? And I don't care if you did the build out yourself, it still takes time and a little bit of money. Even if you did the build out yourself, if you have to move a year later, it's like that's expense, that's headache, that's stress. Once you move a year later, nobody moves into a house, buys it, and then a year later moves unless their job relocates them. But it usually doesn't relocate them across the street. It usually relocates them out of, like, you know, that area, so they have to move. So the 1,400 square feet, when done right, can be plenty large. Second question, or the second part is, if you're a chiropractor and you are working, or you're a chiropractor doing a startup, okay? I understand that most of us can swing a hammer, most of us can paint, okay? Most of us can, you know, level things out. But realistically, especially if you're already established and you're having a new office built, why would you want to take the time on the weekends or at nighttime and go build your office when you're already too busy as it is, okay? You're going to neglect your family, okay? You're going to be tired and irritable, okay? Because I don't know anybody that wants to work a full day and then go build an office at night. So do yourself a favor, okay? Hand things that are not your expertise off to people that are experts at it, okay? Yeah, I can paint, but would I rather paint an office or go out and market myself? Yes, I can swing a hammer, but that doesn't mean I can build an office. And even if you do have the know-how, do you want to be so busy that that ends up affecting your chiropractic job? Because if you're going and building an office at nighttime or on the weekends and you're so busy that you're not recovering, it's going to show in your adjustments. Your patients are going to feel it. Your staff is going to know why you're a little less, you know, less nice than usual, or why your fuse is a little bit shorter than usual. So my opinion is do what you know. You went to school to become a chiropractor, adjust patients, take care of them. Let somebody who's gone to school for contracting, for building, for design, and let them design it. Because I've heard it said many times, when you're not doing what a chiropractor should be doing, you're not going to be making the same amount of money as you would when you're doing what a chiropractor should be doing. So you may know how to put up walls and put up flooring and paint and all that, but if you end up losing money in the back end because you're so tired that patients are walking out because they're waiting longer, or patients know that you're not delivering the quality of care that you used to, and I've talked with chiropractors that have done it, we are our own worst enemies. We figure we have time on the weekend, so we decide we're going to build our office. But just one question, did you build your house?
Dr. Lacombe, thank you for your time. I hope this has been valuable. Let us know how we can assist you.